Welcome to the Weekly Little Podcast. I'm your host, the man who can't grow facial hair, and I'm joined with Mateo. How are you doing, Mateo?
I'm doing... Why are you calling me that?
Because that's your name on Zoom. I can see it right now. It says Christian Mateo Taber.
God.
This is what you get. This is what you get for using your school account.
Happy now? Is that better? That's better.
Yes, very. Okay. So today, now that shitty Super Bowl is over, which I stopped watching after Leonard Fournette scored the touchdown to go up 28. Was it 28-3 or 28-6? I think it was 28-6. I stopped watching. I was just like, this is stupid. The team I actively wanted to win won, so I'm happy about that. Quick news update: Pat Mahomes is going in for surgery for his turf toe. Other than that, I have nothing. You have anything quick to say?
I don't know. I'm happy for the Bucks. I'm happy for Antonio Brown. Get a little redemption in. No. Yes, I am happy for Antonio Brown. I don't care what you have to say. I don't care. I'm glad he had a little comeback. I'm glad. I'm happy for him. I was super happy for Gronk. I love Gronk. I was super happy that he got 2 touchdowns.
Don't you like Tre'Davious White? Didn't he like fucking drop an elbow on the back of Tre'Davious White's head?
Am I gonna just start hating Gronk because of that? No.
I don't know. A lot of people I know do.
Well,
I don't hate Gronk. I had a Gronk Patriots jersey for the longest time.
I love the Brady Gronk duo. I don't care if I'm a fan of Buffalo. I'm also just a fan of football, and the football fan in me loves Brady and Gronk, the duo of just death in Super Bowls. So
Brady now officially has more Super Bowls than any NFL team ever. The most an NFL team
don't want
has
to call him the GOAT.
I know. But while we're on the topic of quarterbacks, let's talk about the ones that aren't GOATs and are probably going to be moving. I went through the list of NFL teams real quick before we started, and I picked out 21, not including future rookies, 21 quarterbacks I believe, and from what I've been hearing, could potentially move no matter how ridiculous it may sound. These guys have had rumors floated, or I believe are in a situation that they could be moved. So, we're going to go back and forth and just discuss where we think they're going to go. So, starting out with is the big one, the obvious one, not named Deshaun Watson. Dak Prescott. Franchise tagged by the Cowboys last year. Cowboys kind of strapped for cap because they paid Cooper $100 million and they gave Zeke a big ass contract. So where does Dak resign? Does he? If all right, also with these contracts, if you think they're going to sign somewhere like free agent, give me your ballpark for how much do you think they're going to make?
I would like to see Dak resign. I want to see the Cowboys succeed, and I think having Dak under center is the way to do it. The question is, will the team around him produce? Because Dak was on route to have like a fantastic season this year until the injury. Like he leading the league in passing yards at that time. He led the league in passing yards like 2 weeks after he was injured. So he was having a great season, but I would like to see him re-sign. I don't know if he actually will.
The problem I have with the statement you just said is you actively want the Cowboys to be good. What's wrong with you?
Listen, it's funny to bully that division, but I need someone to come out on top, and I don't want...
Give me the Giants or Washington.
I'd rather have Washington. Giants had Eli. They're good. They can suffer for a couple years.
Damn. I remember I was sitting in my lab one day, and I have a friend who we've had on the show before, who is a Giants fan. He was like, this might sound like an asshole thing to say. This was before we even made the playoffs. That was the year we made the playoffs, like 10-6. He said, it's been a long time since we won a championship. I'm like, bitch, you're a Giants fan. You just won in 2008. I've never seen a championship. Go fuck yourself. You know who you are if you're even watching. I think he gets franchised by Dallas. I don't think they get a deal done. I think it's franchised, and then I just don't think he's going to last there after the next season. Which Dallas would be smart to grab him because I am also one who thinks he's severely underrated because people just want to hate on him because he's a Cowboys quarterback, and people always think Cowboys quarterbacks are overhyped. And so in that way, people are trying to say he's overhyped, which makes me think he's underhyped. I think people who actually look at his game value him correctly. It's just that people try to say he's overhyped so much that it makes him underhyped, if that makes sense.
Right.
All right, next. Same division. Eagles now, Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz. He's a guy. He's a guy who's potentially going to get moved to. I don't know where or who would want him. There was one team that I saw today that were rumored to be in talks.
Which was who?
I forget which team it was. But I remember seeing that team, I think one other. I'm forgetting which ones they were, but some teams are in talks for Carson Wentz. Some people want to see his career revived in certain places, but I don't know. I don't know if I have faith in Wentz, man. I don't know if I have faith in him.
I have faith in him. I just think you need to. I don't think he's like a Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or someone who can succeed despite not putting things around him. I think he needs the correct coaching staff. The team I believe you're looking for is the Indianapolis Colts that were in talks about getting him. But the problem is the Eagles want a Matt Stafford level return for him, which I don't think they're going to get. I think they're going to say that now. Draft day is going to roll up. Colts going to be like, hey, we'll give you I think their 21st overall pick and like a future second and Jacob Eason. Let's call it even. And at that point, they're going to be so desperate to finally make this trade because it's going to get so awkward from now until then. I think the Colts will be able to swing a trade for him. So I'm going to say he gets traded to the Colts.
Also, I found that it was the Niners and Texans that called the Eagles to inquire about Wentz.
Texans,
so
really.
Niners and Texans.
That's interesting because they've been saying that they don't want to move on from Deshaun Watson. So I'm wondering why they would call about Carson Wentz. So what do you think officially happens to him? Where do you think Carson Wentz suits up come next September?
I like the idea about him going to the Colts. I don't think. Yeah, I don't like the idea of Niners. Texans is interesting, but I don't know. I think the Texans are going to have to move on from Deshaun Watson at some point, even though they don't want to. Like, are you going to keep him there? And then what is he's like going to not play?
Yeah, but if you're the Eagles and you say you trade a first, Carson Wentz, and like 3 firsts and Carson Wentz, what do you do with Jalen Hurts then? Because the whole point of getting rid of Carson Wentz is to let Jalen Hurts shine because they let him play 3 games last year. Mm-hmm. But if you're getting Deshaun Watson, you're in the same situation where Jalen Hurts is now on the bench again.
Right.
So then you have to also move Jalen Hurts because Deshaun Watson's your future plan because he's still young. So is Carson Wentz. So it doesn't really make sense for them to swing a trade for Deshaun Watson. So why would the Eagles even entertain the trade with the Texans? Why would the Texans want that trade? I don't get it. But unless they try to get like someone else, but what do the Texans have to offer? Exactly. Where do you defend? Where do you defend?
I think the Colts is like one of the better outcomes for him. The one that makes the most sense.
Correct. All right. And this order is really messed up. I just literally Googled NFL teams and then looked at the teams. I know all their quarterbacks, so I'm just like I know who could be moved. So the order is not in a particular way. So next is Cam Newton from the Patriots, free agent. Threw 15 touchdowns this past season. I don't think so. I don't know, but they were like last in almost every passing category.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have a job this upcoming season. If so, it'll be for a team that wants to bridge, but I don't see a team wanting to bridge that wants to bring in Cam Newton.
I mean, if you think about it, like I said, I had 21 quarterbacks here that could potentially be in the move. Why, if you were going to get a bridge quarterback, would you go with Cam after the last season? You have 20 other options. Why would you go Cam? Like, we'll get to some of the other bridge quarterback options in a second, but what's the reason of going? I think he's done. I think it's just... I think the play that sums up his entire season was that play against the Bills where he stepped up and completely... There was a wide open receiver 10 yards in front of him. A fucking 10-year-old can make that throw, and he threw it in the dirt. So I think he retires. I think he's retired after this season. He's not going to get any offers. Like, he won't officially retire, but this is his last season he'll have played football or been on an NFL roster.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think he'll like retire, like announce a retirement. I think he'll stay a free agent, and maybe if a team gets like desperate, they'll sign him or something. But
this is fantasy looking into it. Like really, like down the road, XFL maybe. He might be the big XFL quarterback they go chasing after. But that would need him to think his value isn't better than XFL. He might be like, I'm too good for the XFL. I'm an NFL quarterback. I'm an MVP. I'm not going to play in XFL. Doing that. Right, but I think I also could see him doing that. But if I were him and I hadn't played for like 2 seasons at that point, why would you say no? Get some more tape out there. Next, very unlikely option, but because there was rumors, I put him on here. Aaron Rodgers. Coming off an MVP.
Yeah, I think he finishes his career with Green Bay. I don't see him leaving.
How much longer do you think How much longer do you think he plays? Because he's only like 36, 37, something like that.
I don't know if you know off the top of your head his contract, how long it lasts.
I think it's another 2 or 3 seasons. The problem is he's coming off his best season ever. This was his best season in his entire career. It doesn't look like he's slowing down. So he doesn't have any incentive to retire. And the Packers don't hold on to their court. Like, I guess I'm just basically going off Brett Favre here, but with the whole Brett Favre thing, they didn't hold on to him, and he was their future. They think Jordan Love is the next Aaron Rodgers to his Brett Favre. They might let him go. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's traded this offseason, but if by next offseason, especially if he doesn't perform like he did this season, like he doesn't win MVP again next year, they'll have some kind of argument that he's fallen off to try to justify trading him and getting a gigantic haul in return just because they want to get him back out there. So I think he's Green Bay for this upcoming season, but I wouldn't be shocked if next offseason he's on the move.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I feel like, I mean, look what he did this year. Some of his receivers were even practice squad receivers that he had to play with. Sure, he has a fantastic running back, and he has what some would say a top 10 wide receiver, but I mean,
I think it's like a guarantee he's a top 10 receiver. Are you gonna argue?
Well, yeah, but I mean, so you know how some people will always argue, you know. But you know, look what he did this season. He put together an MVP season with like practice squad wide receivers. Like, look what he's doing. But people will still, you know, discredit, and even the front office might even try to, as you said, search for ways to convince themselves that it's smart to trade him. I don't think they should. I think he should retire with Green Bay. I think at the end of his contract, which he'll be 40 by that time, in 2024, when he's 41 years old, he will be an unrestricted free agent. So unless he wants to pull a Brady and just keep signing like 2-year deals, then I think once his contract is up, then he's done.
Okay, so you do think he's gonna? So you think when he's like 40, it'll be his last season in Green Bay and in football in general?
Yes.
And that's, you said that'll be 2023. That means that Jordan Love's rookie contract would be up at that point, and they would have to either give him a 5th-year option, which pays him a bunch of money, for someone they've never seen play in a game, or just let him walk, and that was a waste of a trade-up first-round pick. Which is why I think they'd move on from him in next offseason, especially if he doesn't get another MVP. If he does, because anything less than an MVP or a Super Bowl, they'll have some kind of way to justify it because he wasn't as good as the previous season, so they can try to say, oh, he's starting to fall off a little bit, and that'll be their justification. All right, next on this one, I haven't heard anything about, but just from looking at it and thinking about it for a second, I think they're probably going to be on the move, whether it's getting cut or a trade. Mason Rudolph from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. I could see him getting. I don't see who would make that trade. Like, if I was a GM of any team, really, I don't know if I'd make that trade. Like, what would you?
It could be more than a low round pick, like a 6th or a 5th. No, a 5th is too much. Probably like a 6th or a 7th if they're gonna get anything. I think he'd probably just be cuts and be maybe a practice squad quarterback.
Yeah, I don't see anyone making that trade even like you have all of these quarterback trade market or in free agency that you could go for. I don't see why instead of doing that, you make a trade for Mason Rudolph and then what? Draft a quarterback high or just go with Mason Rudolph? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
you'd have to have him on like practice squad or as a backup. And why would you do that?
right. So where do you think he signs to if he gets cut and then goes somewhere?
He gets cut. I'm trying to think what teams would like what I mean,
You could go with the irony.
the Bears.
You could go with the
the
irony
Bears only
with
have
the-
Nick Foles under contract.
Yeah, but you could go with the irony and say he goes to Cleveland, and then I'll be pissed. Be back up there, getting fights with Myles Garrett at practice. I think Chicago would be more big fish hunting than Mason Rudolph.
Agreed. Maybe just to add competition, but
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say Bucks. He gets signs with the Bucks, as a practice squad quarterback or as just to be a backup. Because I mean, if you look at their quarterback room outside of Brady, it's horrendous, and he has some upside. He has some game experience, and Brady's old. He doesn't really get injured, but if God forbid he does, you need to have someone playing experience on the roster. I think their backup quarterback was like, what was his name? I don't even remember. It was someone who had never played. I don't think he's ever started a football game, NFL football game. So, Rudolph, are you saying Bears then?
I'd say Bears unless something else that which I won't bring it up yet. I'll bring it up when we get to talk about that team. So for now, I'll just say Bears.
Okay. Next up, we have a pair of quarterbacks on the same team, Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota. Now, they've publicly come out and said that Derek Carr, they're not trading him. But obviously, you're going to say that. They came out publicly and said, we are not trading Derek Carr, but we will take offers from Marcus Mariota. But one thing, offers are always going to be listened to, even if they say they won't. Two, Dave Gruden has always had a problem with Carr ever since he's been started coaching there. And I feel like they can't just go out and say, yeah, we're going to look to trade our starting quarterback. They have to say that to not cause, an issue where that would then in turn have his, stock plummet. So I think Mariota's more likely to move, but I wouldn't count out Carr moving.
I don't think they should move on from Carr. Like you said, with all his history with Gruden and whatever, they might. I think that they shouldn't. I think that they can win with Carr, but I definitely see Marcus Mariota moving. I don't know what his trade market would be though.
It'd probably
it'd
be like a fourth
mid
or a fifth.
Yeah,
like a mid-round pick. I wanna like just throw out like a Carr to somewhere else move, but for the Raiders, it doesn't make sense to move on from him unless you're trying to get one of these other quarterbacks. So I'm gonna say he's sticking with Vegas at least for this one more year. If this next year doesn't work out, they probably move on from him and try to grab someone in the draft. Mariota, though, I'm saying he's traded to the New England Patriots because they tried to experiment with a mobile quarterback last year, and they were able to change their offense a little bit for him. But Cam Newton's the wrong mobile quarterback to try to hitch your wagon to. Mariota came in against the Chargers and showed he still had, he's still young enough to be able to develop. And he came in and showed that he still had some gas left in the tank from his starting days in Tennessee. And I think New England needs someone on offense who can just make plays, which is what Mariota does. Maybe he also makes up turnovers, but that can be coached out of, especially by one of the best coaching staffs ever. And I just think that with the New England's quarterback situation and the place they're picking in the first round, and they're not going to be able to land a quarterback unless you're in my mock draft from this past week that got ripped its anus open by Reddit commenters. I think New England could flip like a fourth or a fifth to grab Mariota, and that'd be their starter for next year, while they still wait to either bottom out and get like a top quarterback prospect or just hit the next Brady.
Right. I like that. I like that match. The only other places I can see is somewhere that like, because I don't see too many places needing like a starter. And that being said, wanting their starter to be Mariota.
Right, because you can't swing a trade for Mariota for him to be your backup.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another one I was looking at was like Washington, because they, again, Ron Rivera comes from coaching Cam Newton, has experience with mobile quarterbacks, and they need a quarterback because Alex Smith and Kyle Allen are the only quarterbacks on the roster right now. So I could see them swinging a trade for Mariota, but I think he just fits the. I think New England would be more aggressive towards it, but Washington is probably my dark horse to get him.
I could see Washington. Something about me just can see Mariota in a Washington uniform.
Mm-hmm. Is that where you're going with it then?
I'll go with it, but I still feel like Washington is one of those teams that'll, try to get a top tier, if not in free agency, then in the draft quarterback.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're in position in the draft to grab one because they were a playoff team this year, so they're going to be picking at 19, 20, 21, somewhere around there, like the late.
Unless
teens,
they figure
20s.
out a trade to trade up, which what are you going to trade?
Yeah, it's
besides picks.
That's what I'm saying. So you might as well swing a pick to. I kind of like this Washington pick more than my New England one, but I think I'm going to stick with New England, just because I think Washington could be in play for other teams because they already have a lot of things they could move a first is what I'm saying. Where New England can't really afford to move their first. And would have to look for more of an option to grab someone with a mid pick.
Right.
So then Jimmy G is next. He can leave the 49ers this year, and they'd save him a bunch of money. They've already been talking about him moving on. My problem with this is that when Jimmy G is a starter, I believe the record the 49ers have are 23-8 with a Super Bowl appearance. When he's hurt, though, they're terrible. And he's frequently hurt since going to the 49ers. So I don't know if the 49ers could get anything for him because he's so injury prone. But if they're being serious and they don't really want to take the cap hit into consideration, as long as he can come back, they're good with him. They can win games. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they might take a chance on him, keep him around. I think if he continues to get injured, his career in San Fran is definitely over with. But I don't think you pull the plug on him just yet. I think you keep him around for a little bit longer, see if he can, bounce back and keep them moving. Because when he is the starter, they perform well. But it's just he has to be playing and be starting. He can't start if he's injured. Right. So,
what about Nick Foles? Big Richard Nicholas.
Nick Foles. He's still, is he still under contract with the Bears in 2021?
I think he's technically
moving forward.
I think he has 1 year left.
He has 1 year left.
You might want to fact check that for me, but I'm not certain because I'm not certain. But I think he has 1 year left. But I don't think he makes it past cuts.
Yeah, I think they keep him, and then if he does get let go, it's through cuts. I don't know if his contract is. How bad is his contract as far as cap hit? 6.6, and then 10 million in dead cap.
So they'd only be really saving. They wouldn't be saving anything. They'd be losing $4 million against the cap if they release him.
Right.
So they're kind of.
So it's either they trade him, or they keep him.
Right.
Which, who are you? How are you trading him?
Exactly. I don't know. Originally I wrote down I was hoping he'd have reunite with Philly to be the backup to Hurts, but I just can't see Chicago getting rid of him because of his cap.
Especially with all the money problems that are happening this year, and so many teams that are experiencing that, I don't see why you take on that hit to your cap
for a quarterback.
I think you just you keep him, and then he's 2023. He's an unrestricted free agent. I think you just roll with him for the time being.
Okay. How about his teammate? Well, I guess former teammate now because he's going to be a free agent. Mitch the Bitch Trubisky.
I don't want him to get a job, man.
Why?
I don't. I mean that sounds like harsh, but like I'm not high on Mitch Trubisky at all. If I'm a GM and I'm looking for quarterbacks, I am not looking Mitchell Trubisky's way. I'm sorry, but I'm just not. I don't know if I'm like alone on that opinion, but I don't know. Maybe Jets. Do you want him? Like
Jets.
Do you want to not draft somebody and pick up Mitch Trubisky? Like I don't know.
I'm trying to think of like a fit, like a team that would his skill set would fit because he's not like he's like a decent arm. It's not the biggest arm, and he's decently mobile, but like
I don't know. Like would the Broncos? I don't know.
He's low. No, I don't know. He's low ceiling, high floor kind of guy. Even though he's young, it's like you don't grab him like unless like you have like a specific quarterback guru, which I could give him to the Bucks, but I already have him getting Mason Rudolph. Right. So like that'd be my only one I could possibly think of. But again, Bruce Arians likes to run like deep ball kind of concepts, which really isn't what he's good at. He's more of like a dink and dunk passer, which then makes me lean towards New England, but I have them already getting Marcus Mariota. So I'm kind of stuck. So I'm looking more at backup roles. I'm thinking like the Vikings, but the Vikings are already strapped for the cap, and they have Kirk Cousins under contract, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I mean the 49ers, but they already have Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard under contract. Or I think just Nick Mullins, not CJ Beathard. I'm not sure. I didn't care to look them up. But like I'm trying to think the Saints, but they're so bad at cap right now. It's like he's got to be a backup somewhere.
Yeah, that's the only way I can see him. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to look at his former contract and kind of gauge how much you would pay for him in free agency. Because you wouldn't want to pay all that much for him, especially just to come in and be a backup.
All right, I got it.
So let me see.
I got it. Pittsburgh Steelers. They
Steelers.
lose Mason Rudolph, right? They don't want him anymore. They failed with him. Bring in someone similar to him, same age area. I think he's a year older. Still young, can develop, maybe. And the last year, their passing offense was basically just dink and dunk Ben Roethlisberger. And he's more mobile than Ben. So it's like if you don't want to draft someone to piss Ben off, you could bring Trubisky and say, Ben, this is your new backup. But sign him to when you think Ben's going to leave after this next season, probably. And then, if anything, you have to draft a quarterback the season after, but you roll with Trubisky as your bridge starter. That's the best case scenario I can think of for Trubisky right now.
How much do you see them paying for him?
Oh, not much. Not much. Backup money, like chump change, like $4 million.
Yeah, because his last contract, I mean, cap hit was $9 million.
Yeah, but it's because he was second overall pick.
Right.
So I think you'll get like chump change compared to that $4 million, $3 million, something like that, to be a backup for like 2 or 3 years in Pittsburgh.
Okay, I could see it. I don't think that's what'll happen, but I'm not. I wouldn't be like completely.
He's gonna
shocked
be
if
somewhere.
That's what happened.
Just because he's young enough, he's gonna go somewhere. It's not like Newton, where his best years are already behind him. Trubisky has some promise.
It's just hard for me to pinpoint where
Tennessee, maybe
he would go. I could behind Tannehill. I could.
They already had one reclamation project in Tannehill. Maybe they could have Trubisky go down there and try to learn from his ways. Doesn't really make sense because they're not going to be coming off Tannehill anytime soon. But like, to get a decent backup still has some value in case your starter goes down.
Right.
I still think Pittsburgh thinks fits best for him.
I don't know. I kind of I find the idea of him going to Tennessee is kind of interesting, actually.
So should I put you down for Tennessee then?
Put me down for Tennessee then.
All right.
I don't know. Like that just seems like an interesting fit.
Now we got Alex Smith. I already know where I'm going with this. He's retiring. He's not gonna play. He's suffered enough. He got his comeback of the year. Just Alex, please, for the love of God, just go live a happy life with your leg that almost just please for me, please retire. This isn't a mean thing. You lived, you got some glory on the Chiefs and on the Redskins, kinda. Just go walk off into the sunset. Or I'm sorry, on the 49ers and the Redskins. So just go off into the sunset.
You don't think they keep him on the roster as like a backup to some big name target?
I don't think that he gives them a choice. I think he's like, I'm not getting smacked anymore. I'm gone. Bye.
Okay. Because watching him suffer was awful this season.
If you want to have him still be on the roster, you can. But I do want to remind you, have Marcus Mariota going to the football team as well. So you have, if you think he's going to stay on the football team, you have him, and now Marcus Mariota, and Kyle Allen. But Kyle Allen's probably kind of a non-factor.
Right. I could agree with the retirement. One thing I want to ask you is, do you see him potentially going into any type of coaching?
Not right away. He'll probably want to be like, I want some life away from football for a little bit. Maybe, potentially, but not right away. So what are you saying, retirement? Are you saying Washington? What are you looking at here?
I'll say retirement.
Okay. Dwayne Haskins, currently on the Pittsburgh Steelers roster, was assigned to their practice squad, I believe. But I think they'd rather have Trubisky over Haskins. Personally,
I don't think he makes it on the roster come cuts.
If he does get cut, do you think he goes anywhere?
I don't think so. I think maybe again it's one of those, like, a team's desperate, wants to make like a mid-season signing because everyone's like dead. It's one of those teams.
I just think he's still young enough, and maybe he can make up for what he did. So I think he could probably go somewhere like New Orleans or something. I could see him as a Saint on their practice squad or something. I'm going to go New Orleans practice squad. But it's just really... he could go anywhere. He could go to any team and be on the practice squad just because he's young enough and people will want to grab him. But he's not going to start or even back up just because people saw his tape when he was on Washington. So are you just saying free agent then? All right. Next, Tua. Is he on the Dolphins?
I'll just stick to free agent.
Is Tua on the Dolphins come next season?
Yes.
No, there's no doubt about it.
I think it's too early to give up on him. I mean, I just went Joe Biden. Sorry. But I really don't think that you give up on Tua right away. Like, he showed promise. I think you continue to develop him. I think that as the years go by, I mean, even if they look at teams like the Bills, who had Josh Allen, who maybe wasn't great his rookie year, but continued to progress, maybe they want to see progression out of Tua. I'd want to see progression out of Tua. I don't think it's early enough to give up on him. I mean, he was just drafted last year, 5th overall pick. I think they keep him on. I think they try to develop him and, build the team around him and try to, especially now with Cap, try to use his rookie contract to get pieces around him while he's kind of developing.
Unlike Allen, I'm going to argue, Allen had obvious upside. He was just raw. That's why he was bad. Tua doesn't have the upside that someone like an Allen or Lamar Jackson showed, even despite their struggling rookie years. So I think, and this will tie into our next player, I think he goes to Houston. In a package centered around the return of Deshaun Watson. So Deshaun Watson is now on the Miami Dolphins. This is still my favorite move in the Deshaun Watson saga, is him to Miami for the 3rd overall pick, Tua, the 1st overall pick maybe this year, if not another one next year, and then another 2nd. I think it's like going to take 2 or 3 first-round picks, 2 maybe if they're both this year's, Tua, and probably like another 2nd or even another first. But that's what I think is the best case scenario for this Deshaun Watson for every side. Where do you think Deshaun lands?
Deshaun. There's a handful of teams that want him and that could possibly land him.
But do you think Houston moves on from him? Is the question.
I think that eventually they'll have to. I think that if not, then I don't know if Deshaun's gonna be one of those like remind me, Chargers running back Gordon wasn't it Gordon who
Gordon.
sat out?
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll be one to sit out or if he will play if they don't move on from him. But he's miserable there. Like, why do you keep him on?
So who do you think lands him? What do you think lands him? What do you think the package is?
That's tough because there are some interesting scenarios that I think could be really cool. Any team that lands him is really like basically in immediate playoff contender.
Mm-hmm.
Like right away, they're in contention.
I would argue if Miami got him, they'd be a Super Bowl contender.
You could argue that. I wouldn't be opposed to you saying that. Mm-hmm. They would be a really good team if they got him. One team that I saw that I think would be interesting, I don't know how likely it is, but I saw the Panthers, which I think could be an interesting fit. And I know who do I have already going there? I have Mariota. What do I have?
No, you got no one. You have Mariota going to...
I don't have anyone.
Washington.
So for the sake of this, the question is, what would the package be? What would the Panthers...
What I've been hearing from Houston media sources, which I've been reading, the Houston Texans want 3 firsts and a defensive starter or 2.
So the Panthers would have to give up someone like Chin.
Yeah, like Jeremy Chin, Deontay Jackson, Brian Burns, which they should not give up Brian Burns, Yitiro Gross-Matos, Todd Davis, who they shouldn't give up either. They have defensive starters who I don't think they should part ways with, but if they were to bring in Deshaun Watson, I think it might make it worth it.
If they throw in a package with Matos, a package of firsts.
How many firsts? 3?
I think if they do 3, would they accept 3 in Matos alone, or would they have to throw in another? Well, the second round.
Have to throw in like a second or third round pick.
If they throw in those 3 Matos in a second for just Deshaun Watson straight up,
I feel like if I'm the GM of the Texans, I'd probably take that, especially because the Panthers. I'm assuming you're giving them the 8th overall pick. So they have a pick where they can move up with that new capital they just got to get one of the top quarterbacks. So that makes sense. That makes sense for Houston. So I'm gonna write Deshaun down.
And then you're getting someone on the D line who could potentially
replace JJ.
You're losing JJ Watt, so that could be a good trade for them if he lives up to potential.
Correct. So I have Deshaun Watson off for Carolina for you in a trade. Okay. Next up, because you have Tua staying in Miami, I have Deshaun Watson going to Miami. Where do you think Fitz goes?
I don't want to say he's done.
That's not the breath of a man who is confident in his statement.
I don't want to say he's done. That's the thing.
He's not, though, because he has.
He's not. He's definitely not. Yeah.
But where would he go? Who needs a starter? Or like a bridge starter? New Orleans? Is Fitz going to be the Saints quarterback next year over Taysom Hill?
I was about to say, does New Orleans...
They're $100 million over the cap, right? So they're probably going to lose our next person we're going to talk about, Jameis.
Yeah, I think... I mean, I don't know if they really go with Taysom Hill as their quarterback.
So you think Fitz would be on New Orleans?
Sign someone like Fitz or re-sign Jameis, which I don't think they're going to re-sign Jameis.
So you're saying Fitz to New Orleans?
I'll say Fitz to New Orleans.
You're insane.
I'll say... because Phillip Rivers retired.
I think if you're Fitz, you want to go somewhere that even if you don't start you have the potential to start. And see, in your scenario, if Tua stayed in Houston, I would say Houston would sign Fitz. But in my scenario, Houston now has Tua, so it makes sense. It wouldn't make sense to bring Fitz with them. What the fuck was that laugh?
Shut up.
Someone who needs a quarterback, a young quarterback, probably someone who. Let's go. In this scenario, let's go Fitz to the Washington football team. Because I have Mariota going to New England. That was my only other option I was thinking of. So I think Fitz could to the Washington football team to be their bridge starter, especially if they have to take a quarterback like Kyle Trask in the second round.
Right.
And especially if, in my scenario, Alex Smith retires. Like I said, next is Jameis. Where do you think he goes?
This is one I definitely haven't thought of. Is where Jameis would go. Maybe this is another one that, since I don't have anyone going to the Colts, I think I'd have to listen to the rest of the quarterbacks, because I know that like maybe one or two are slipping my mind, and I also just don't see Jameis going, or the Colts going for Jameis rather. But
didn't you have Carson Wentz going to Indy?
Did I?
Yes.
Did you mark that down for that?
I did. So.
So yeah, even less.
This is the one. I'm going to go Jameis to Philly as an insurance policy for Jalen Hurts if he doesn't work out. Because if in your pitch meeting to Jameis, right, you're going to be like, hey, Jameis, we got this kid. We played him last year. Didn't really impress us, but, you know, we've moved on from our other quarterback that was backing him up to, you know, take over for if in case this kid fails again. So you come in, you're probably going to get some starts just because he's probably going to struggle. That's just my opinion on Jalen Hurts as well. So Philly basically
the scenario.
Philly just basically replaces Wentz with Winston.
Right. What if, this is like hypothetical. This isn't me actually thinking like this will happen at all, but this is just like something to think about. What if Dak doesn't get re-signed and they go for Winston in the offseason? How do you feel that would work out? It was just something that just popped in my head, is like, how would that work out?
I don't know.
Just looking at my list of teams here.
I feel like if you're gonna go for someone and it's in doubt, if they miss out on Dak, they don't resign him, they probably are gonna they were offering him $30 million, so they probably take that and try to target someone bigger than Jameis. So I don't know if they'd go for him specifically, but it could work.
Yeah, agreed.
In this scenario, I already have Trubisky going to Pittsburgh as a backup, but in your scenario where you don't have anyone going to Pittsburgh yet, I think Jameis would be a good understudy, if not someone to take over for Ben when he's gone after this season, especially if they want to go move in a different direction, because Ben no longer is throwing a deep ball, and that's what Jameis does do. He pushes the ball downfield, and they just like, you know, throwing the ball is their kind of their thing. So I feel like that could be a fit, but I already have them take Trubisky, so I didn't get him there.
Right. I could see that. I was just thinking of like teams that have like a vet quarterback, kind of a similar to the Saints situation. They have a vet.
He could go to like the Jets or someone if they take like Zach Wilson, which I'm predicting they will. He could go there to be insurance in case they don't want to rush Wilson into starting or something like that.
I could see him going under a vet before, you know, under a rookie. Like a team targeting him as like insurance for a backup, as someone like who's gonna retire like next year, like Big Ben.
So like Pittsburgh.
And yeah, rather than someone who's gonna draft a quarterback, and then they want to have someone like Jameis as, you know, learn from him and kind of, you know, because that's essentially who you're gonna have him learning from and mentoring him. I see him just being under a vet more so than that.
Okay. So let me put you on down for Pittsburgh. Okay. Next one is going to be kind of easy. Kirk Cousins, you think he leaves Minnesota at all?
No.
I didn't think so. I don't think
Not
so
yet,
either.
anyway.
I think he's coming up to one of his last years of contract, if not the last year. This has been like a failed experiment in my eyes, so they're probably going to let him go after his contract's up, but I don't think they're going to move that contract. Next one. This is one I've been waiting to talk about. Sam Darnold, right?
Mm-hmm.
I 100% think he's going to Atlanta. Because Arthur Smith is now the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, right? And Matt Ryan is old, and he's expensive, but they can't get rid of him yet. So Arthur Smith just got done completing the reclamation project of a former Adam Gase quarterback, turning him into something good in Ryan Tannehill. So if he can take another Gase quarterback, as in Sam Darnold, who has super high upside, and they can bring him into Atlanta, you can use that fourth overall pick on something that's not a quarterback, this year anyway, and then bolster their defense, and then hope that Smith can do the same thing he did with Tannehill to Darnold, which Darnold has a higher upside than Tannehill does, so I think he could do it. I think this is my favorite quarterback-to-team match of this entire offseason, is outside of like Wentz to Indy, Darnold to Atlanta.
Darnold, that's something that I did not even think of a possibility, but now that you say that, that makes like a lot of sense of that being the case.
They'd probably have to send like a third. I know they're asking for a first for Darnold, but
who's gonna give up a first for Darnold?
No one's gonna give up a first for Darnold.
Like,
and a high third round pick from Atlanta, because they're picking towards the top of the third, is basically second. I think they'd take that.
Yeah, I can see them doing that. I don't know how much common sense the Jets front office has, but I can. I mean, maybe they could do that.
So I was thinking that, or maybe San Francisco or something like that. But I think Atlanta is my favorite pick for this one.
Yeah, maybe San Francisco. Maybe like. Who else would want
Minnesota, Tampa Bay?
Darnold?
Tampa Bay needs a young quarterback to mentor. It's kind of like I haven't taken Rudolph, but at the same time,
I don't see Tampa Bay. I don't see Tampa Bay. The other team that you said?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. That'd be interesting.
The Rams.
Minnesota
the Rams could grab Darnold, but they probably wouldn't want to sacrifice another pick for him.
Yeah, they just had that big trade. I don't know if they really do any other moves as far as quarterbacks go.
You're right.
I think they're very happy with where they are right now. So I'll agree with you, the Darnold and Atlanta connection.
Okay. Next is Matt Ryan. You think Matt Ryan gets moved at all? I've already stated my case that I don't think he's going to. That he'll just stay there.
I mean, how many years is he? It seems like all the time he's leading. He's like top 5 in
he's always
yards thrown.
He's always up there.
Yeah, he's still a solid quarterback. That he's not the issue with the Falcons.
Their offense isn't the issue, which is why I think they should go defense with the fourth overall pick. For all those Redditors that are yelling at me for having them taking a cornerback, fight me.
Who do people want them to take?
A quarterback, Justin Fields. Or Trey Lance or something like that.
Because let me double check. How old is Matt Ryan?
He's like 40, I think.
How many years realistically? Let me look at his contract. How many years is he in his contract?
I think he has 1 or 2 years left. I think it's 2. I think he has 2 seasons left on his contract.
2024 is when he'll be an unrestricted free agent, and he'll be 39 by that time.
Oh, he'll be 40 when he's a free agent. So they wanted them to take a quarterback, let him sit under him for 2 years, and then let Ryan walk. I think you just do that with Darnold, and then because pretty sure his next year after this, his next season, which is last season off season while he's still under contract with them, I think his dead cap money goes down, which they could move on from him then.
Yes, it does. It goes from $26 million to $8 million.
Exactly. They can move on from him in that offseason after having Darnold sit in that system for a year. But for this season, he's a Falcon. Next, Tyrod Taylor. Probably a backup role. Real quick, where do you think he's going to go?
Tyrod.
This is my thing, is you want him to go to somewhere that's going to draft a young quarterback, because everywhere he's gone, Buffalo, they trade him, they fuck him over and trade him for Josh Allen, and then Josh Allen comes out of that. Cleveland, he gets fucked over by getting hurt, and then Baker Mayfield comes out of that. Chargers, he goes there, gets fucked over by injury, and now Justin Herbert comes out of that. You want him to go somewhere. If you're going to get a rookie quarterback, you need to have Tyrod Taylor as your starter for the first couple games of the season, and then have him get hurt, and then your quarterback will kick some ass.
Trevor Lawrence?
You think that they wouldn't have Trevor Lawrence start the season?
I think they should. I mean, they definitely should, but
I'm gonna say this one, right?
Do you want the luck of Tyrod to rub off on your? Obviously, don't start based off superstition, but
I think because of how little they think they're a quarterback they currently have that we have them keeping right now, mostly because of financial situations, can start for them. I think he goes to Chicago. Because Chicago is in a position where, even though they can't move on from Foles yet, maybe they can. I don't know the specific details of his contract, or they can rework it to get him out of there, or someone actually wants to trade for him. But they could get him, draft someone with the 20th overall pick, which is what they have, like a Mac Jones, and then you have Tyrod start, and then again, the whole Tyrod fucked over cycle, and you get a good quarterback out of it.
Another hypothetical situation, not to be taken seriously and just ignoring all other possibilities that we talked about. What if Tyrod went to the Colts as their bridge until they find their solution?
I feel like the Colts would want to swing out because they want to win now. They want to win this season. So I think if they're going to go for a quarterback, they're not going to go for someone who has a low ceiling like Tyrod. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what you're getting with him. They want to go for someone like Wentz, who, if he hits, he fucking hits. Like, he'll be an MVP level quarterback, whereas Tyrod is never going to be like that.
Mm. No one Tyrod becomes the MVP of the...
Fight me. No, I will
Imagine.
No, I can't.
Hey, you said Drew Lock, so...
Yeah. You could have...
I said Phil Walker.
You could have Tyrod go to Houston. You currently have no quarterback in Houston. You have him traded to Deshaun Watson. Unless they get Teddy Bridgewater back in that trade, they don't have a quarterback.
If they don't get Teddy back in that trade, I like him going to Houston. Now that I think about it, I probably should have included Teddy in that package. But for the sake of I didn't, let's go with that.
Okay. Two left. Ready? We're going to do kind of rapid fire. Ready? Gardner Minshew. Probably not going to be a starter. They could keep him to be a good backup to Lawrence, but he could probably fetch some value on a market where people want young quarterbacks that have proven that they can play.
Yeah, he could fetch some type of market, but I think they keep him as a backup. They know what they have with Gardner, and they know that he can be a solid backup for him.
I think he probably goes somewhere that needs a quarterback, like a young quarterback. If I didn't already have Dwayne Haskins going to Dwayne Haskins is going to be a practice squad quarterback in New Orleans. I could have him go to New Orleans. I could have him go somewhere like I don't know, somewhere that has an older quarterback that needs. They could, or someone who they just want to upgrade. Chicago would be a good place for this one, but I have Tyrod going there. I could switch that up. I could just have Tyrod go somewhere else, but I think also they're probably not going to cut Gardner just because they want to get something for him, and he's a high end backup. So I think keeping him is the best option, but someone could make a move for him. And then finally, Josh Rosen was on the 49ers roster this past year. He got signed off. He was on the Bucs practice squad, got signed off the practice squad, was the 49ers backup, or like third string, and now they're looking to bring him back, so I think he stays with the 49ers.
I don't see why they'd, kind of veer away from it. If they want to bring him back, I think that they will. I don't think any other teams are really going to try to, match their price or compete for him to bring him onto their squad.
Yeah, but it's the same kind of explanation for like someone like Darnold. You think you can fix him and make him and basically you're getting a 10th overall pick quarterback, still basically in like he's like I think he's 25 or 26, so you're getting a young quarterback. It's basically getting a free first round pick quarterback. If you can get him and turn him into the quarterback that people thought he would be coming out of the first round.
But then, are you going to actually turn him into that? Is the question.
Which is why I think he's a great fit at San Francisco, where Kyle Shanahan can fix him, and especially like they lose C.J. Beathard this year. I'm pretty sure they do. He'd be a great replacement, and I think he has a higher upside than Nick Mullins. So are you saying San Francisco?
Yeah, I'll say San Francisco. San Francisco.
Did you just swallow your own tongue?
I don't know what happened. My mouth is dry. I need water. My water's over there. I'm getting water.
This episode brought to you by dihydrogen oxygen, aka H2O, also known as, and his street name is called water. Aqua in some
circles. I call it Wawa.
Hey, hold on. We busting out the giant water bottles?
Yes. Ever since I got this at the banquet, I've been using this all the time as my water bottle. This is the only water bottle I ever use.
What'd you say?
God. I said ever since I got this at the banquet, this is the only thing I drink water out of. I don't use anything else.
I just started using it again today. I went to the gym.
Sponsored by our high school swim team.
Yeah.
Get a Zach.
That year I fucking coached your ass, boy.
You didn't coach me.
What do you
coached the rest of our team who was trash. Don't fuck with me.
All right. That's the end of our show. That ran a little longer than I thought it was. Next week we'll probably just talk about the rest of the free agency then. This was just, quarterback carousel is insane. There's so many quarterbacks this year. So we're probably completely wrong. I'm going to save this for when, after free agency, I'll probably come back to it like after our 1 year anniversary in May when all the rosters are completed. Like around, I guess we'll come back to like late practice, like, when the rosters are finally getting cuts down and things like that. And we will check to see how close we were. But yeah, our 1 year anniversary is coming up. Can you, it's in 2 months? 3 months? 3 months? Yeah, it's in 3 months. I believe it was like May 16th was our first ever episode.
We can celebrate with Duffs.
Yeah. So I guess
flaming wings that we never got.
Right, because we still haven't hit 100 subscribers, which means subscribe, assholes.
Is that the goal?
Yeah.
To subscribe by the time we hit the 1 year?
100 subscribers will eat Duff's hottest wings, which are probably the hottest ones in Buffalo. Yeah.
Wait,
we get the Megadeth ones.
I'm gonna help us out. I just realized I wasn't subscribed. Oh wait, no, I am. Never mind. I am. I thought I wasn't. I was like, oh wow, I'm really not helping our cause here.
Don't be like Taber and don't think that you aren't subscribed or are subscribed when you're not.
But I am. I was one of the first ones.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
Flex.
I was the first one because it was my fucking channel.
Okay, well.
All right.
Whatever. All right.
Quick closing remarks about Shady that you were trying to think of the whole episode. Go.
Oh, I didn't think of them, but go Shady. Back-to-back Super Bowl rings.
Coming to Buffalo next year?
No, but Hall of Famer.
Really? Oh, okay. That's a hot takes episode right there.
Listen.
I mean, hot takes season 2's coming soon.
He has 15K total yards exactly.
Really?
Which I thought was cool.
We got hot takes season 2 coming out soon, so I mean, we gotta.
I mean, if that's considered a hot take, that'll be one of my milder hot takes.
I think it's a pretty hot.
You think it's pretty hot?
I think it's a pretty hot take.
I don't think he's like a first ballot, but I think eventually he'll get in.
Well, we'll stay tuned
maybe if he goes to another team and he's just like the Iguodala of the NFL. Just keeps getting rings. I don't know.
Stay tuned for that and much hotter of takes when we bring back Juan Parker III and I get put through a table. So, yeah. Fucking subscribe.